if this example is going to be about hypocrites and about maybe perhaps some of the Israelites who understood from inside that Islam is in fact true, but they're bothered by it still. Just because you accept it to be true doesn't mean you have to like it. So they don't like it. It could even be the description of a Muslim. Anytime, in the time of the Prophet until now, until Judgment Day, there's somebody who's Muslim, but they don't like it. It bothers them. And they wish they weren't Muslim, or they don't like, there's some things about the religion just bothers them and disturbs them, and they just want to be free of it. They just want to not have to deal with it. Now the thing is, I'll tell you this straight up, if somebody's Hindu and they don't like Hinduism, they stop being Hindu. That's okay. They don't make a YouTube channel about why they're not Hindu anymore. They're not bothered by, they're not traumatized by their Hinduism. You know, they used to take me to the temple and they used to make me, you know, put the food in front. It's just so, it hurt me so much when I was a kid. No, they just move on. They go eat a, you know, double cheeseburger now and life goes on. Somebody used to be Christian, they're not Christian anymore, no big deal. Somebody used to be Jewish, they're an atheist now, no big deal. Somebody used to be Muslim and they're thinking about leaving Islam, or they're leaving Islam. They can't just leave, they can't just go and have a burger and have a, you know, have themselves some pork ribs. They don't. They'll start a channel, they'll start a podcast, they'll start writing articles. Why I left Islam, Islam is this, Islam is that. Look at this hadith, look at this, look at what the Qur'an says, look at what these people believe, look. Bro, you're so bothered, just go. Why are you still, why are you still hanging on? You know, you can't let it go. You know why? Because the image of a person who's wrestling with this religion, who has this love-hate relationship, they want to let it go, but they can't because something inside them knows this is true. And if they can't get rid of it, so they start talking about it in this way, so somebody else can say, you're right. Oh, thank you for validating that I can leave. Because I couldn't validate it for myself. I needed somebody else to just give me a, yeah, you go, Murtad. Like, you know. And then finally I could feel better about myself. Or even if they're not coming out right, leaving Islam, if they're not even leaving the religion, but they're in the religion, but don't like the religion, then at every gathering, every iftar, Waji, in Islam there are some contradictions, I don't know, I don't understand. And then they start doing this whole spiel. You might have an uncle or a cousin or somebody who does it every single time, same thing again, over and over. They love bringing it up. Why? Because they need to feel like they're justified in they want to do it by creating that agitation. That is the image, think of it that way, that is the image of someone who, even if you can go inside and not be standing in the rain, they're out there, the rain is pouring in the dark and it's flooding them, it's almost killing them, and it's coming, minas sama suggests that it's higher up, al-irtifa'. Yushir al-irtifa', meaning the higher the raindrop is coming from, the harder it hits you. So every bit of this religion, every ayah, every message from Allah is like, it hits. And so while for other people the same Qur'an is a blessing, for this person, it's like they're getting slapped with it every second. It hurts them. أَوْ كَصَيِّبٍ مِّنَ السَّمَاءِ. They're in a disturbing state. فِيهِ ظُلُمَاتٌ. In this heavy rain, there are layers and layers of darkness. You say, how can the Mufassirun compare this Qur'an to darkness? The Qur'an is light. The Qur'an is light. How come the example is, it's like heavy rain from the sky which has many, many layers of darkness. Yes, it's light for who? For the believer. And what is darkness for the disbeliever? Disturbance, anxiety, anger, frustration, sadness. They just keep getting agitated. Every time they hear something about Islam, they get agitated, disturbed. You know, they have to respond in some way. It just keeps on bothering them. And Allah didn't just stop at dhulumat. In the image, okay, you're walking in the rain, it's dark, it's at nighttime, it's getting darker and darker, the rain is getting heavier and heavier, it's so loud that even if you cry and scream, nobody can hear you because your sound is being drowned out by the the pounding of the rain that's pouring down on you, and you're soaking, and you hate the rain, but you're soaking in it. But you can't escape it, you can't get away from it, you know. And then he says, وَرَعْدٌ. And then there's thunder. Some ayat of the Qur'an, even if you don't believe, they hit you pretty hard. وَلَهُمْ عَذَابٌ أَلِيمٌ. Why do you guys believe in Jahannam? Why are you making that face? If you don't believe in it, if you think it's a fairy tale, why is it bothering you? It shouldn't bother you at all. So many years ago, I still remember this young lady came up to me in Massachusetts. She said, I used to be Muslim. She spoke to me in Arabic first. I was like, أعجبتني المحاضرة. I was like, MashaAllah. اسمك. She told me her name. I was like, okay, MashaAllah. She goes, حفظت القرآن. I was like, MashaAllah, حفظت القرآن. السلام عليكم. She goes, لا أجيب على السلام. أنا لست مسلمة. I'm not Muslim. I was like, Muslimah? She goes, نعم كنت مسلمة. I used to be Muslim. I was like, okay, we need to talk. So after the lecture, I was like, what happened? And she's like, just the description of hell in the Qur'an just bothered me so much. Like, what kind of God makes a hell? I didn't want to believe in a religion where a God would torture. I was like, okay, I hope you go to hell. And she got really bothered. She's like, how could you say that? Excuse me? I was like, no, you don't believe it exists. So to you, if I said, I hope you go to Six Flags, or I hope you go to McDonald's, or I hope you go home on a couch, or I hope you ride on a pony, like a pink pony, or it's the same for you. It doesn't exist. Why are you bothered? Why does it bother you? Because you don't believe in it, right? If you don't believe in it, and I say, I hope the Pokemon gets you, then it shouldn't bother you, right? I hope the great dragon comes eats your face. Like, there's no dragon, so we're good. Yes, I hope so too. No problem. But the fact that you're bothered, you know what that means, right? You're still standing in the rain, it's still slapping you on the face. And as much as you'd like to ignore it, you can't get out of this rain. And sometimes it thunders and it's like, you get, and you don't want to hear it. And what do they do? So Allah says, فِيهِ ظُلُمَاتٌ وَرَعْدٌ, and then He says, وَبَرْقٌ. And there's also lightning. So they don't want to they don't want to deal with the thunder. So what do? يَجْعَلُونَ أَصَابِعَهُمْ فِي آذَانِهِمْ مِنَ الصَّوَاعِقِ. They stick their fingers into their ears because of the explosions. That's what Qur'an describes. Now the problem is, the fingertip, this part is called anamil. Anamil. This is asabi'. Allah didn't say يَجْعَلُونَ أَنَامِلَهُمْ فِي آذَانِهِمْ. He said يَجْعَلُونَ أَصَابِعَهُمْ فِي آذَانِهِمْ. In other words, the sound is so loud that when they stick their finger in their ear, it's not noise cancellation enough. So they keep pressing in until they're hurting themselves to the point where it hurts them, so long as they don't have to hear the thunder. But it still is not helping. It just isn't helping. That's the desperate state. They're in it and they don't want to hear it, but they still want to hear more, then they don't want to hear it. And they stick their... So he says, حَذَرَ الْمَوْتِ, out of the fear of death, which is another very telling thing about the munafiq and about the Israelites in the Qur'an. About the Israelites, Allah said, يَوَدُّ أَحَدُهُمْ لَوْ يُعَمَّرُ أَلْفَ سَنَةٍ. Each one of them wishes they could live for 1,000 years.